In January 2024, a finance worker in Hong Kong received a video call from his company's chief financial officer. The CFO instructed him to wire $25 million to a series of accounts. The worker recognized the face on screen. He recognized the voice. He followed the instructions. Every single person on that call was a deep fake. The real CFO never made that call. $25 million gone because an AI cloned a voice and a face so convincingly that a trained professional couldn't tell the difference. Before we dive in, please remember that this video is for educational and informational purposes only. AI is a rapidly evolving field. Always do your own research and think critically. With that said, in this video, we are going to break down exactly how modern voice cloning actually works at a technical level, explained in plain language. Then we will look at the real-world scams already happening at scale, because this is not hypothetical anymore. And finally, I will give you practical steps to protect yourself and the people you care about. Make sure you stick around for that last part, because what I share there could genuinely save you from losing money or worse. Let us start with the technology itself, because understanding how it works is the first step to defending against it. So how does a tool like ElevenLabs clone your voice from just 3 seconds of audio? The answer starts with something called a neural codec model. Think of it this way. When you speak, your voice carries 2 layers of information. There is what you say, the actual words, and then there is how you say it, your pitch, your tone, the tiny imperfections that make your voice uniquely yours. Traditional text-to-speech systems focused almost entirely on that first layer. They could pronounce words correctly, but they sounded robotic because they ignored the richness of the second layer. Modern voice cloning flips the script entirely. These systems are trained on enormous datasets of human speech, sometimes hundreds of thousands of hours of audio from diverse speakers. During training, the AI learns to separate the content of speech from the characteristics of the speaker. It builds what engineers call a speaker embedding, which is essentially a mathematical fingerprint of a voice. That fingerprint captures everything: the breathiness, the cadence, the way someone's pitch rises at the end of a question, even the subtle raspiness they might have first thing in the morning. When you feed the system just 3 seconds of your voice, it generates your unique speaker embedding. Then, when you type any text, the model synthesizes new audio that applies your vocal fingerprint to those words. You never said those words, but the output sounds exactly like you did. The quality has improved so dramatically in the last 2 years that in blind listening tests, people identify cloned audio as real over 70% of the time. Now let us add the visual layer, because voice cloning is only half the story. Tools like HeyGen and similar platforms can take a single photograph of a person and generate a realistic talking head video. The technology behind this uses a combination of generative adversarial networks and diffusion models. Here is the simplified version. The AI looks at your photo and builds a 3-dimensional understanding of your face. It maps your bone structure, skin texture, lighting, and the geometry of your features. Then, when given audio, whether real or cloned, it animates that face to match the speech. It generates realistic lip movements, subtle head tilts, natural blinking, even micro-expressions around the eyes. A separate module handles the background and body movement to maintain consistency. The result is a video of you saying something you never said, and it can be produced in minutes on consumer-grade hardware. 2 years ago, this required a Hollywood visual effects studio and weeks of work. Today, a teenager with a laptop and a free trial account can do it during a lunch break. This convergence is the critical point. Voice cloning alone is powerful. Face animation alone is impressive. But when you combine cloned voice with animated video and deliver it through a familiar context, like a video call from your boss, the result is almost impossible for a human to detect in real time. That is not a theoretical concern. That is happening right now. Let us talk about the scams, because the criminals are way ahead of most people's awareness. The Hong Kong case I opened with is the most dramatic example, but it is far from the only one. The Federal Trade Commission reported that impersonation scams cost Americans over $2.7 billion in 2023 alone. And a growing percentage of those scams now involve AI-generated voice or video. Here is how the most common scam works. A criminal finds a few seconds of someone's voice from a social media video, a podcast appearance, or even a voicemail greeting. They clone the voice. Then they call the victim's elderly parent and say something like, "Mom, I have been in an accident. I need you to send money right now. Please do not tell anyone." The panic in the cloned voice sounds real. The cadence is perfect. And the parent, terrified and acting on instinct, sends the money before thinking critically. The FBI calls these grandparent scams, and they have exploded since voice cloning tools became publicly available. But it goes beyond individual fraud. We are seeing cloned voices used in corporate espionage, where fake audio of a CEO authorizing a transaction is sent to an employee. We are seeing it in political disinformation, where fabricated audio clips of public figures making inflammatory statements go viral before anyone can verify them. In early 2024, voters in New Hampshire received robocalls featuring a cloned voice of President Biden telling them not to vote in the primary. Thousands of people heard it before authorities intervened. And if you are finding this breakdown valuable and you appreciate this clear, in-depth approach, a quick click of the subscribe button below is the best way to let me know. It helps this channel continue to create helpful content just like this. Now let us move on to what is arguably the most crucial part. The arms race between creation and detection is deeply uneven right now. And that is what makes this moment so dangerous. Detection tools do exist. Companies like Pindrop and Resemble AI have built classifiers that analyze audio for artifacts that human ears miss. Tiny inconsistencies in spectral frequency, unnatural smoothness in transitions between phonemes, or the absence of normal breathing patterns. Some platforms are also working on audio watermarking, where AI-generated speech includes an inaudible digital signature identifying it as synthetic. But here is the problem. Detection always lags behind generation. Every time a detection model learns to spot a specific artifact, the next generation of cloning software eliminates that artifact. It is a cat-and-mouse game, and right now, the mouse is winning. The open-source community has made powerful cloning models freely available, which means anyone can fine-tune them to evade specific detectors. Meanwhile, the detection tools are mostly locked behind enterprise paywalls, inaccessible to the average person who actually needs protection. Regulation is trying to catch up. The European Union's AI Act now requires that AI-generated content be clearly labeled. Several US states have passed laws making it illegal to use deepfakes for fraud or election interference. But enforcement is extraordinarily difficult when the perpetrator can operate from anywhere in the world and the fake content spreads in seconds. So what can you actually do about this? Let me give you a practical framework. First, establish a family verification system. Pick a code word or phrase that only your immediate family knows. If you ever get a panicked call from a loved one asking for money, ask for the code word. No AI clone will know it. This one step alone could save you from the most common voice cloning scam. Second, treat all unexpected urgent requests with extreme skepticism, especially when money is involved. If your boss calls and demands an immediate wire transfer, hang up and call them back on a number you already have saved. Do not use the number they called from. The 30 seconds it takes to verify could save you thousands or even millions of dollars. Third, reduce your vocal footprint where possible. I am not saying you should stop posting videos or recording podcasts, but be aware that every piece of public audio is potential training data. Review your voicemail greeting. Consider whether that TikTok video really needs to include your voice. Awareness alone changes behavior. Fourth, push for verification in your workplace. If your company does not have a multi-factor authentication process for financial transactions, advocate for one. No single phone call or video call, no matter how convincing, should be sufficient to authorize a large transfer. Fifth, stay informed. This technology changes monthly. Follow the developments, understand the capabilities, and update your defenses accordingly. The fact that you are watching this video means you are already ahead of most people. Let me bring this all together. We are living through a fundamental shift in what it means to trust our own senses. For all of human history, hearing someone's voice or seeing their face was considered reliable proof of identity. That assumption is now broken. AI can clone a voice from 3 seconds of audio. It can animate a face from a single photo. It can deliver the result through channels we instinctively trust. And the tools to do this are free, fast, and improving every single week. Here is your one actionable assignment. Before you close this video, pick a code word with your family. Text them right now. Explain what voice cloning is and agree on a word that you will use to verify identity in any urgent situation. It takes 2 minutes, and it is the single most effective defense available to you today. This is not about living in fear. It is about updating your mental model to match the reality of what technology can now do. The people who understand these tools will be the ones who are hardest to fool. If you found this valuable and want to stay ahead of the curve as AI continues to evolve, subscribe to this channel. I break down complex AI developments into clear, actionable information every single week, so you are never caught off guard by what is coming next. I will see you in the next one.